Hi there, my name's Emma and I am a certified doula on the June team, and today we're going to chat about labor positions. So taking different positions in labor and movement throughout the process is one of the most important things you can do to keep your labor progressing naturally, potentially avoid unnecessary medical interventions, and help baby descend through the pelvis, because it's not just straight through. Babies actually turn slowly throughout the process, especially if it's your first baby. You often have to try lots of different positions to see what works for you. So in the early stages of this process, as a doula, my biggest advice to you is to try and rest. So whatever positions you're comfortable resting in between and during contractions as they're coming is the right one for you. This is a very intuitive process. However, I like to explain a few different, smart resting positions you can take that sometimes help engage baby in the pelvis even while you are, lying down. So it's not all about being upright the whole time. You can definitely lie on your side, especially with some smart adaptations, and still make progress in the process. So one position I often recommend folks try is called exaggerated Sims. And so I'll show you what this looks like in a moment, but basically involves laying on your side. You can pick which side. I invite you to try both sides, see what feels better to you. Often if you spend time on one side for a period of time in labor, it feels good to roll over. Maybe when you get up and go to the bathroom, come and switch it up. So exaggerated Sims basically involves laying so far on your side that your top arm and leg are actually kind of flopped over onto pillows, supportive, and your belly, the baby bump, is often there's a little bit of pressure on it, So once you're full term in labor, leaning so far over, you want to have your shoulders stacked and your hips stacked, but then, hug a pillow, get a nice pillow between your knees and your ankles to keep that leg angle, open but not unnaturally uncomfortable. You get bonus points if you sort of straighten out your bottom leg a little bit. And many people are able to get a little bit of sleep in this position. So I think it's worth trying, even if you're not getting hours of deep sleep in early labor. Perhaps you can doze for 10 minutes or 15 minutes if your contractions are spaced out or really mild. Another good position to try in early labor, and even in active labor if you feel called to, is sort of a hands and knees, cat-cow yoga kind of position. So this can certainly be done with lots of pillows. It can be done in a way that's really active. You're holding all your body weight up, you're wiggling your hips side to side, and you're really active throughout the pose. Or this could be super restful. So I know a lot of pregnant people miss sleeping on their bellies, and if we have enough pillows, you can sort of recreate this. So I'll show you kind of how to really make sure you can relax your upper body, be nice and loose, and yet this position gives baby some space to turn in the pelvis. So a lot of babies enter the pelvis kind of looking left or right, and as you go through the labor process, they spin around a little bit so their back is sort of toward the front of your belly. So if you can imagine this, doing hands and knees kind of helps that back work with gravity to spin the baby a little deeper. And also having your pelvis kind of open to the back, like if you are really doing cat-cow, you have your booty kind of out, the pelvis actually can change shape a little bit without pressure. So as labor progresses, contractions get longer, stronger, and closer together. So it may be more tough to lay in a restful position for many minutes in a row. You may naturally be drawn to a lot more movement as you get to active labor. And what I mean by that is like contractions 3 to 5 minutes apart pretty consistently, so it's active. So what I recommend is asking for a medicine ball or a birth ball at the hospital. If you have one of these at home, that's great. You can certainly use it in early labor and you can use it to soothe the baby postpartum. But most hospitals have these. You should check with your provider. And it's a good way to kind of sit upright but not have to use your whole body weight. You don't have to hold yourself up. You can let the ball support you. And some people really like, you know, rolling around on it or going front and back like a rocking chair with their hips, or even just bouncing up and down during contractions while you're breathing. That could be a nice distraction. So it's a good way to kind of keep yourself upright without having to hold yourself up. And I love too using a yoga ball or medicine ball on the side of the bed. So if you're sitting on the floor, especially if you need to be monitored or something, you may be kind of attached to this area, at least for the time being. So it can be nice to sit on the ball and maybe stack a bunch of pillows in front of you and just like rest on the bed. Again, the bed has settings so you can kind of adjust it up and down. And that's a nice thing to try with the medicine ball in labor. Another really active labor position that some folks are drawn to try is squatting. We've all heard, this one's like everyone's most popular, you know, position. I've had a lot of folks in labor say, should I be squatting right now? But I think a lot of folks with an intense contraction might just, you know, intuitively get down into it. So some ways that we can do this with support. A lot of hospital labor and delivery rooms or even the hallways have little bars, so if you're walking, you can kind of grab onto one and give a little stretch. Same thing with a squat bar. A lot of beds have a built-in little compartment where you can attach a padded bar that goes across the labor and delivery bed, which you can use to like get your arms up on. You can put a pillow on it if it's not cushy enough, and again, kind of get deep in the pelvis without using your muscles too much. You can kind of relax your upper body, at least, you know, maybe more than some other positions. So a squat position can actually increase the outlet of the pelvis, which is the bottom. So by the time the baby's coming down through, like that exit of the pelvis can be increased by about 30% with a squat. So this is major for folks who might be pushing and having a hard time, or who need to, you know, maybe baby needs to rotate a little bit. It's definitely worth trying some of those positions to see if opening up the bottom of the pelvis kind of helps give baby a little bit of space to find their way. So throughout the labor process, the name of the game is sort of, if a position is working for you, stay in that position as long as it's working, and then change it up maybe when you need to go to the bathroom.